entwined in this quilted love, our hearts aligned. So let the world outside grow cold.
Hello, everybody. Hi. It's so great to see you. How's everybody doing? Hello, hello, hello. Let me move this so I can see all your comments. Today, y'all, we are wrapping up the end of the series for the Butterfly Pixel Quilt. How's everybody doing with their quilts? Am I sounding kind of loud? Hold on a second. I think I'm sounding kind of loud. How's that? Is that any better? Can you hear me now? Like, I feel like that was like really loud. Before I move on, can you hear me good? Or do I need to bump it back up? I was trying to fix it before I went live, and the minutes were just ticking by so fast. Give me 1 second. I'm going to try to make a change real quick, y'all. I want you to be able to hear me. Back. Let's do, whoops, back. I think it's, how's that sound? Still, I think it's kind of loud. I'm a one-person show, y'all. Hello, everybody. Today we're wrapping up the series for the Butterfly Pixel Quilt. I have to say, this quilt surprised me by how much fun it was. Have you started making the quilts? What are your thoughts on this whole process? Hello, everybody. It's so great to see you. You can hear me fine. Okay, good. Good. It's so hard to tell because when I listen back, I listen on a great big like speaker. So I'm not really sure what you hear on your end. Hi, everybody. Karina's going to start hers in the springtime. Awesome. Vivi hasn't started yet. Karen loves it. I'm so glad. I saw where you started. You got a couple blocks done. Is that right, Karen? I was surprised at how much fun it was. Okay. It's a little bit louder than usual. You can turn your volume down. Okay, good. I'm scared to keep messing with it. I was surprised about how fun this was. And to me, it was like each week when I sat down to do my blocks, it felt like craft time. You know what I'm saying? We were just playing with different fabric swatches. And it was different than everything else I was doing that week. And to me, it was just relaxing. Karen's on block 8. So today you can see my quilt finished up on the thumbnail of this video. Y'all, can I just tell you, this quilt turned out exactly the way I thought it, or envisioned or imagined it would. I think it's super cool. Catherine says, I want to gift it, so hopefully hers comes out nice. I'm sure it will. Dawn says, fun quilt. Liz hasn't started yet, still debating over what fabrics to use. I think, Liz, it is easy to overthink it. Do you know what I'm saying? It is very easy to overthink it. Just dive right in. Speaking about diving in, today I'm going to show you lots of other butterfly pixel quilts, and we're going to wrap up today by talking about our next project. Lana says, sadly, she hasn't started hers because of gardening and canning. I know. It's a busy time of the year. I know. Yesterday I did 12 more jars of pear jam. Sunday I'm doing more grape. This time I'm going to do grape jelly. The first time I did it, I did a grape jam. So just add a little bit of variance to my pantry, you know what I'm saying? So one of the cool things that I've always enjoyed doing is celebrating you and your work. And so that's what we're doing today. That we're going to start off today by just doing a slideshow, show and tell of all the pictures that were shared on my post on the Creative Crew. Now, sometimes I think I confuse things, but the Creative Crew is a private group on Facebook. Of course, we want you to join and share all kinds of your creations, right? But it is a private group. And it's private because we have come to know one another so well that sometimes we share very personal information, you know, things we might be going through. And so that's not available for the whole world to see. Do you know what I'm saying? And so when I do a show and tell here on YouTube, anyone in the whole wide world can come and see this video. All right. And so I try not to ever just open up Creative Crew as a whole group page and scroll through the group page. I kind of feel like that would be a violation of privacy. Don't you think so? And so what I do when I do a show and tell is I make a post that's in the featured section. So I can just open up that one post and I don't have to scroll through everybody's stuff in order to do a show and tell like today. So I hope that if you wanted to share your picture, you were able to find that post and post in the comments section. If not, I'm going to give you about 4 minutes to rush over there and find the featured post and put it in the comments before we switch over, okay? About 4 minutes. The grape jam was delicious. Can I just tell you, it's probably some of the best jam I've ever tasted. It really is. And we still have a whole bunch of grapes on the vine, and it's bugging me that they're out there and I'm not doing anything with them. So I'm going to make some grape jelly this weekend. Sherry's on the last block. It seems on every block I would get material caught up in the seam, had to tear it out, and not all turned out the same size. Interesting. Teresa said, I thought it was fun. If I made another one, I would try to make the butterfly stand out by putting more dark squares around the butterfly. And Glenda hasn't started hers yet. Robin's still on her first block. She got sidetracked by other projects. At least I feel like I'm in a group of people who align with my personality. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I get sidetracked so easily. All right, so what I want to do is share my screen, okay? And we're going to jump over to Creative Crew, and we get to look at all the different various butterfly pictures. And give me a second, because it's going to look a little like behind the scenes for a minute. See, I just want to show you, like, if you're on Creative Crew and you're looking at the banner of Creative Crew, in case you're wondering where the featured section is, right? Here's the banner, and if you come down, you'll see a menu of different tabs you can click on, and if you click on featured, that's where I usually pin a post for a show and tell, okay? And so there's my pin. And I think we have quite a few pictures to show today. I'm going to show all comments. And today we're going to start with Kelly. But let me get a sip of my drink first. Okay, it says my goal is to finish up by next weekend. By next week to show my Quilt Club. Yay, that's awesome. So usually when I click on the picture, yeah, it makes it bigger. So this is Kelly's. And Kelly said, just finished the top last night. I love it, but don't look too close at the seams. I am not as consistent as I thought. Oops. Well, you know what, Kelly, though? Like, I feel like you could have left that whole last long sentence out. Because from this far, right? And I have a pretty big computer screen, and I'm sitting pretty close to it. Okay, can I just tell you that, Kelly? And I can't see seams that are not lining up. So had you not pointed anything out, no one would ever know. Can I just tell you that? Isn't this fabulous? Now, earlier I was scrolling through the pictures to see how many we had at the time. And Kelly, when I saw yours, I immediately thought of like it must have just rained on your butterfly and now the sun is coming out, because the tip of the wing with those stars look like the butterfly is sparkling. Does anybody else see that? Yep, Mimsy is unable to make it today. Doesn't it look like her butterfly is sparkling up on the wingtip? Isn't that so cool? Now, this is the first photo we're pulling up, but I just want to share the trend you're going to see with the butterflies. Okay, you can see it on mine, and you can see it through all of them. And we didn't have very many rules to this quilt, right? Just following tones of fabric and colors. But each one of them has the definition in the background, the swirling, the shading, and I think that that is so cool. Good job, Kelly. I love it. And sometimes there's pictures in the reply, so I'm going to scroll through the replies. I'll see. 3 days ago, Karen, you had 3 blocks made. Now you have 8, so you've made a lot of progress in 3 days. Next up, we have Kim. Isn't that so pretty? Now, what I encourage you to do, like if you're totally bored and you're a fabric nerd like I am, is I'm going to leave this in the featured section for a little while. Come to each one of these and click on them and zoom in on your phone or your computer and check out all the different fabrics. Like, I just find it so fascinating looking at all of the different fabrics. Yeah, doesn't that look great? It's fantastic. I absolutely love it. I really do. Good job, Kim. And then next up we have Daniel's. Here is Daniel's butterfly quilts. And if you saw the very back of Daniel's quilt, you would know that he pressed all his seams open. I'm still fascinated by that. Any of y'all who have pressed your seams open on this quilt, I give you so many kudos, like sending high fives through the screen. Y'all just have a lot of patience. Isn't that so cool? See what I mean? Each one of these pictures, you can see the definition and the shading of the background behind the butterfly. That is awesome. I really like it. And I always find it fascinating, that we've all used totally different fabrics and we all get similar results. Do you know what I'm saying? That's awesome. Next up we have Betty, and we'll click on this one. She said, "This is my final picture. I posted the other one by mistake." That's okay. Here is Betty's. And the one thing I want to say is, I know you were worried about the polka dot black fabric at some point, Betty. I can't remember when, but I think it really works. I really like it. I'm hoping at this point, Betty, that you really like it too. Isn't that pretty? I really like that a lot. You know what would be cool is if somehow we all got together and did a show, like an in-person show, and we all had our butterflies. Wouldn't that be cool? I love it. I really like the flowers in your black fabric as well. Like, I can't tell from here, are they sunflowers? But I really like them. I'm just going to click on the replies because sometimes there's a picture there. Linda said, "These turned out so pretty." Next we have Shelby. And can I just tell you, I love this picture because it was so great that Carl's in it, right? I love it. And we have a purple. It's so great to see you, Carl. I love this quilt. Y'all did a great job. I was half tempted to do a purple butterfly. I was half tempted. I think that that is great. Am I stuck? Because I see my wheel is spinning. Can y'all hear me? There I go. I think I was having an internet disruption. Am I running now? I had the spinning wheel of no internet, I do believe. So I'm not sure how much you've seen. Okay, it's better now. Okay. Sometimes the internet is fantastic with the Starlink, and sometimes, you know, with afternoon weather, it's hit or miss. You never know. You're getting some buffering too. Hopefully, I think I'm moving now. I love this picture. I'm pretty sure that was my internet, y'all. And I'm just going to say, you know what, Carl? I think you are a trendsetter. And I would encourage everybody to hold up their quilts and have a picture taken with your work. Okay? I think that is such a good idea. Chrissy says, "These look awesome. Great job, everybody." Now, I have to say, this next picture, I was so thrilled to see this. This is Darlene's. And can I just tell you, Darlene did the purple and pink butterfly. Isn't that awesome? But Darlene's the whole reason we started the butterfly quilt when we did, because she bugged me every time I saw her. When are we starting the butterfly pixel quilt? And I was just procrastinating, y'all. But you know what? I'm so glad she did stay on me about it because I had a blast. My sound is going in and out now. I hope not. I had an absolute blast doing this. I really did. And so, Darlene, I just want to thank you for staying on top of me. And sometimes we need that push. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like when you love somebody, you stay on top of them. and it's all out of love. So I just want to thank you for encouraging me to get started because I love my quilt. And next up we have Karen, and Karen added a border around hers. So if you're making this quilt still, or maybe you have your top together and you're contemplating adding a border, this is how it would frame it in, right? Oh, Darlene's here. Yay. So Karen says, I got the binding sewn on today. I will do a lot of invisible tacking to hold the quilt, batting, and backing together. This was a fun challenge for sure, and I loved the process. Good job, Karen. I love it. I love it. And I have another question for y'all. Did y'all primarily use fabrics out of your stash, or did you buy some fabric to make this quilt? Or did you do a little both? You know, use what you had and then bought some to go in it? I've been curious about that. I love it, Karen. You know, I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm not adding a border on mine, but I really do love how this framed up. Real nice with that border. It's very nice. I love it. I'm ready to move on. I feel like sometimes I'm just, once I finish something, I have a hard time going back to it. You know what I'm saying? But if I were to do anything else to it, I would add the border. Next up, we have Teresa's. Look at there. Teresa says, getting ready to quilt it today. Today. Oh, that was 4 hours ago. You're quilting it today, Teresa. How's it going? How are you quilting it? Inquiring minds want to know. Thank you, Lisa, for all your support. I hope that this was a blast for you. Dawn says, should I keep bugging you about Rudy the Rooster? I think that's what it's going to take, Dawn. I think that's what it's going to take. Teresa, I love it. I'm not going to try to zoom in because I feel like I might mess up the screen, but is that Christmas fabric in some of your greens? Is that holly? I see green and red. I immediately just think Christmas. I put a couple of Christmas fabrics in mine too. It's really hard to see mine though. Like you have to be right up on it. I love it. Oh, so see, I see y'all are using what you had. Catherine's bought one fat quarter, but the yardage she had and a few scraps. Kim did both. Teresa's here. She said, I am going with the butterfly quilt design. Y'all are going to have to post your butterfly quilts one more time once they're all finished up. We would love to see how the quilting turns out. And here's Miss Susan's. Susan said, as of 2:07, August the 15th, which was just, what, like 2 hours ago, this is where I am at with the butterfly pixel quilt. Thank you, Lisa. Excuse the mess underneath. Oh, we don't hardly see nothing. You have made such great progress since the last time I saw you, Susan. Look at you. I love it. Can I just say, I am so dang proud of y'all. I really am. Like I just showed y'all like this is how we're gonna do it, and y'all just did it. Right? Look at that. Karen has a question. Did anyone place the same fabric in each box that was the same? Hers was totally scrappy. I started off doing that, Karen. And then I was like, it was so confusing to keep track of all the different little boxes. And then I felt like it was more work. So for me personally, it was totally freeing to just say, oh, that's a medium green. Today, this is a medium green to me and use it. Do you know what I'm saying? But that is a good question. I'm curious to know. All right, Susan, you're on the last row. As of, what, 2 hours ago? Keep up this good work, and you're going to have your quilt top done fast. Oh, that was the last one. You know what, y'all? I'm just going to scroll back through the pictures just like this. Isn't that just awesome? Like, I am just so proud of y'all. I really, really am. I think that's awesome. And let me take and move this down here. I got to move on my windows. Sometimes I feel like I need an extra person to run the cameras and stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? Donna says, I loved doing this winged beauty, Lisa, but I can't figure out how to post for show and tell. Thanks for another great project. Let's go back to Creative Crew real quick, okay? I don't think we're going to do any more show and tells for the butterfly pixel quilt, but maybe if I show you now, this next project we're doing, if you do it, you'll know how to post pictures. Okay, so let's just go back real quick. Let's go back to the Creative Crew. And let's go home for a second. Let's go to the Creative Crew for a second. All right, so here's the Creative Crew. The very top banner when you first get there, right? I want you to look, and it'll say the Creative Crew with Lisa Capen Quilts. See these tabs right here. If you click on Featured, there my post is. And then if you click on Comment or Comment As, and it'll say Donna Thompson, right? Or whatever your name is right there. If you click on that, you're going to have these little tabs in that comment box. And it'll say attach a photo or a video. Right? So hopefully that's helpful. And if you need to, I mean, you can always send me a message and I'll try to help you out. Maybe your screen looks different. I don't know. Yeah, everybody loves them. Y'all did so good. Let me bring y'all back where I can see the comments. So, was it last week or the week before? I forget now. Many of y'all asked, so what are we doing after this? And I did not have a clue. Honestly, I had no idea. But the way my mind works is I was laying in bed and an idea popped in my head. And the next day, all I could do was draw and draw. And 18 hours later, I had a quilt design. No kidding. 18 hours includes the time it took me, I took away to make supper and eat supper. And then I went right back to it. A total of 18 hours that day. drawing out our next project, and I am super stoked about it. Like, I love the butterfly pixel quilts, but I think I'm gonna love this one even more. And it's a mystery quilt. So I can't tell you what it's gonna look like. I'm gonna ask for lots and lots and lots of trust, right? And I'm gonna give you hints like this quilt is an overall Christmas theme. But when I say that, let me just tell you, I think this quilt I might leave up year round because it's not just Christmas. It's also like a celebration of old time handwork, like cross stitching. Okay. We are making it the next pixel quilt totally different than what we did with the butterfly quilt. And some of you are going to be like, yay, I'm so glad we're not doing that again. And some of you are going to be like, well, what in the heck are we doing? Did you see my finished quilt? My finished quilt is the thumbnail of this video. I can hold it up though if you want me to. I've got it right here. I really just wanted to celebrate y'all stuff. So it's like paying an honorage to the old time handwork like cross stitching, but we're making it with totally modern techniques. And I will tell you, I have scoured and scoured the internets looking for a pixel quilt made like this one. And I'm not saying that there is none out there. There's lots and lots of different pixel quilts and techniques out there. I just don't know that I saw any that did it like this. It's going to be the same size as the butterfly pixel quilt, 40 by 40. And so what I did, because I want to pique your interest, and I want to give you a heads up, if you want to buy fabric, you have a couple weeks to do it, right? But what I did is down in the description box, I added a link. You're going to notice there's two versions of this quilt that we're doing, and I'm doing them both. There's a fabric version and an embroidery version. The fabric version is going to be free through the weekend, so I encourage you to come every weekend to get your free downloads if you're making the fabric version. Okay? The embroidery version is not free. I think I'm going to charge a one-time $30 fee, and every week I'm going to send you your stitch files. Still keeping in line with the mystery of the quilt. It's going to reveal itself week by week, working from the top down. Okay? The fabric version free through the weekend. So you got to stay on it if you want it for free. Okay? Catherine said we were all right. She doesn't need sleep. So if you want your fabric requirements for either version, or maybe you want to do both, check out the description box. There's a link there. It brings you over to my Patreon page. You don't have to be a paid member in order to access this file and download and print it off, okay? And I will show you a glimpse of what it's going to look like, both versions, okay? But if you want to know fabric requirements, you can download those two pages and print them off. Next week, we're going to meet here as the real introduction for this quilt, and we're not starting it until September the 5th. Hold it up, she says. Okay. I'm going to hold up my butterfly pixel quilt. And make sure she's right side up. It all doesn't fit in the camera really, but I'm going to tell you, I love the blues and greens together. Like they're very complementary with one another, aren't they? I love that. Is it actually hand stitched or digitally machine embroidery? Machine embroidery. If I did it by hand, there's not enough time in this world for us to get through that. Because I am so slow. 5x7 hoop is what you would need to do it with an embroidery machine. And yeah, so let's just take a little glimpse. Like I want to talk about it today to get your interest peaked. And if you don't have the fabric in your stash, you would have time to source it. It's not a lot of fabric, y'all, before we start. Okay, so that's why I wanted to talk about it after the slideshow today, just in case you need to like buy a yard of fabric or something. You know what I'm saying? Just come down to my desk. A couple of days ago, I posted a picture of my scan and cut mat with some red fabric on it and some little baby tiny squares. And let me just tell you, I think I broke the internet by doing that. There was a lot of feedback on that post. But we're not piecing with little baby squares. We're going to do applique with little baby squares. Okay, so while that sounds intimidating, I did a practice block and it was actually so much dang fun. But y'all know me, applique is my jam, right? Like my favorite, all-time favorite quilting technique is raw edge applique. So this is right up my alley. But let me just tell you, even if you are not really good at stitching down raw edge applique, if you pick a thread color that blends in with your fabric, it does not matter if you're good at it or not. It all blends in. Like from the front, can you see my thread? No. But it is there. See that? Do you see my lines aren't exactly straight, right? Like if I look up here, this one's a little willy wonky. But can you tell that from the front? No, you cannot. So a feature fabric, I'm calling this my feature or my accent fabric, right? You need about a yard. And I would find a top thread that blends in with that fabric so that you don't see it. And all it is a tiny little zigzag stitch. And I started at one end and worked my way right around each one of the little squares from one side to the other. That's it. So each week I'm going to release 4 of these blocks. And we're going to have a section like this when it comes together for the week. This is the in the hoop version, which also includes your background quilting. See that? So this quilt is quilted as we go along. And it stitches out each one of your pixels. And then you just sew the blocks together with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Right? How fantastic is that? But this is going to be part of the very top row. And you can kind of tell that you don't see exactly what it is yet, right? It's going to reveal itself as we work and finish the rows and work row by row by row, revealing the big picture, right? Stacy said like red work. Exactly. Yes. Red work, black work. You could do blue work. You could do green work. Any color you wanted, right? But my suggestion is to have one background fabric throughout, the same fabric, and one feature or accent fabric like this throughout. If you're doing the embroidered version, I would stick with the same background fabric for all the blocks and the same color thread for your accent, right? Throughout. Now, I'm going to say that working as a mystery, but as we go along, you're going to start to see that there are different parts of this quilt that you could change up colors. But as part of the mystery, you wouldn't know when that starts and when it stops, right? So like red work continues the red throughout the entire thing. That would be my suggestion if you're making it as a mystery. Karen says, I thought you were going to take a small break. I am. I'm actually taking a week vacation. That's why we're not starting until September the 5th. Because the last week of August, I'm doing a staycation. And we're going fishing. Would we embroider a separate square each week and then attach to each other with sashing? So, nope. In the hoop, I hooped some no-show mesh stabilizer. And then on top of that, I floated a piece of batting and my top fabric. And the machine went through and did a basting box, basting the batting and the fabric to the hoop, and then it did my quilting, and then I changed my thread color and did my accent stitching, right? On the back side, you can see that here's my no-show mesh. I do think if you wanted to treat this as a quilt as you go, you could float your back fabric on the underside of your hoop and join these, and then you would have some kind of sashing on the back you would need to cover up the seams where you join the blocks, right? So you can see mine, there's my seam allowances. This still needs a back fabric. I'm going to do one big back fabric on it and probably stitch the ditch to anchor that in place. But I feel like you could float your back fabric underneath the hoop. All of this would show on the back as you're quilting. And then you would just need to figure out some kind of sashing to cover your seams. Is it on your website now? No. This is on my Patreon. There's a link down in the description box. There's the fabric version and the embroidery version. This one's going to tell you like how many pieces of no-show mesh you need and what to get together, right? And of course, how much fabric and all you need for the quilts. And then the fabric version is a little bit different in the things you need together to do the quilt, right? So the materials list is a little bit different. So yeah, but that is down in the description box. That's all that's in there. There's nothing else attached to this yet. How big is the small blocks? They finish at 5 inches. So like this is 5.5 by 5.5, but finished in the quilt is 5 inches. So there's going to be 8 blocks across. That's going to give us 40. There's 8 rows down. That's going to give us 40. 40 by 40. And I just want to let y'all know, even though this is a Christmas themed quilt and a celebration of fancy work, see the name? Festive Fancy Work. Fancy work is another name for decorative hand stitching. Even though it's Christmas themed, we're not going to be done before Christmas. I just want to say that before we even get started. 16 whole weeks. 16 weeks. Okay? We're going into a busy part of the year for a lot of people, right? I feel like the summer has been just as busy as Christmas time with all the preserving and the canning and all that stuff, right? But what I don't want to do with this quilt is bog us down with so much to do every week that it's a struggle to keep up. And when I did this section here, was at a very relaxed pace. Can I just tell you, this is so simple. You set it up in the hoop and the machine does all the work for you. And then you just sew together the 4 blocks with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Like, I might make a couple of these. This one is a little bit more time consuming, right? Is it worth it? Absolutely. But if we did more than 4 of these blocks every week, I feel like as we're getting closer to Christmas, it would just be, I know for me, okay, I'm speaking for myself, it's too much, along with all the other stuff. 4 is a good little clip. Do you know what I'm saying? It's a good distraction away from everything else. It's still work, but it's still fun. If we did more than 4 blocks a week, for me, it would be too much. And so, even though I know we all want to display these quilts for Christmas, this is my Christmas gift to you, and we're going to enjoy the time in making it and not rush through it. And you'll have this quilt finished for next year's Christmas. But like I said, I really feel like this quilt is not just Christmassy. It's a celebration of handwork. And so when you see the whole thing together, I kind of feel like I would leave this up in my living room year long. I really would. Betty said, hooray for the staycation. Catch and eat one for me. I will. Oh, I'll try to. Harlan is in his very first fishing tournament tomorrow. He has been like a kid waiting for Christmas Eve. Can I just tell you that? He is so excited. They're fishing for Spanish mackerel. Him and my dad. And they went out today practicing, and they caught 2 of them. He is so dang excited. He took off of work today to prep for this fishing tournament. I don't think he's even been able to sleep. He's so excited about it. Is this a wall quilt? It is. Same size as the butterfly quilt. 40 by 40. I feel like it's a good size quilt without being too overwhelmingly big. Do you know what I'm saying? Yes, they'll have, I used Heat and Bond Light. Okay. And so the picture I shared on Facebook, they kind of broke my Facebook page for a couple of days. Do you know what I did? And I think I'm going to even offer it in my Etsy shop for like $2. I made an SVG. I don't have it close by or else I'd show you. I made an SVG that cuts 400 of these perfect little 1/2 inch, right here, 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch. It's a 1/2 inch perfect square. I added Heat and Bond Light to a square that was 11 inches. And then I put that on my cutting mat and I made an SVG that perfectly cut out 400, and it took 2 minutes to do it. And then I had 400 perfect little squares. Do you know how many of these squares you need for this quilt? I will tell you. 2,118. So if you can cut 400 of them in 2 minutes and they're all perfect, yes, that's how I'm going to be cutting out mine. And so I think I'm going to sell the SVG for this for like $2 in my Etsy shop. But with a ruler and a rotary cutter, I don't think it would be hard to accurately cut these. It would just take you a little bit longer than 2 minutes. And I have heard several people on that post say there is an AccuQuilt die that will cut out 1/2 inch squares too. So if you have the AccuQuilt set up, check to see if any of your dies cut out this little square right there. But yep, so they have heat. I used Heat and Bond Light. That's my favorite fusible. I wouldn't say you have to use that. Whatever your favorite fusible is, on the sheet it's going to say Heat and Bond Light, like I always say. But and then bring a glue stick because it's helpful. And I'm going to show you how to do this the first week we get together. It's so much fun. Lots and lots of squares, Nita. But let me just tell you, so I just it zipped through and cut out all my squares, and then I just worked from my cutting mat, picking one up and putting it down, picking one up and putting it down. And that's the way to go for me. Yeah. What did you say the square size will be? So we're going to start off, the sheet's going to say to cut 6.5 by 6.5 inch squares. You can't see that because of the camera, right? But if you look at the sheet, you're going to start off with a 6.5 by 6.5 inch square. And you need some starch. If you don't have starch, now's the time to start looking for it, right? Because if you're doing the fabric version, it works so much better if you starch your background fabric first. I found that out real quick, okay? Because I didn't use a stabilizer. It's just a zigzag stitch. But starching this background fabric is going to help keep it nice and flat. I didn't want to have to use a stabilizer on this version too, right? So start looking for some starch if you don't have some. But I start off with a square that's a little bit bigger first, and then I do the stitching because, you know, sometimes the smaller little zigzag stitches will sort of pull in the fabric a little bit. So I cut my square bigger to start with, did my stitching, pressed it, and then cut my square exactly 5.5 by 5.5. And that way the stitching doesn't shrink up my block, and then I have to sort of be creative in fitting it all together. We start off with a little bit bigger block. Take a guess what this is going to be. Do I have the small Elmer's or the big one? I do have a big one, but here recently I've been using these smaller ones that Wanda sent me. I have the clear ones, and then Wanda sent me the purple ones, which just let me just say, I've always been a fan and leaned on the clear glue stick as being my favorite, but they're not as juicy as these purple ones. And when Wanda sent me the purple ones, I broke them out, and I almost say that this one is my favorite now. I wish the clear ones were this juicy. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you have both? Have you used both? Have you noticed a difference? The clear ones are a little bit more dry, and these are a little bit more wet. I don't know. But this is the size I have. It's just their standard glue stick size. Karen says, how do you do it, Lisa? You can inspire us to do anything, everything, even when we do not know what it is we are making. I'm calling y'all to just trust me. I got you. What is my favorite personal color? Purple. It is. And for years and years and years, I made purple everything. And so anytime I go to make something, that's the first color I go to. But the last couple of years, I've been really trying to not do that. To use other colors that I wouldn't ordinarily use. And let me just tell you, when I step out of that comfort zone, I am so amazed at the results. Like, I would have never chosen that color, but I used it and I love it. Kay loves the purple glue stick. It reminds you, Faye, of the Tetris game. I heard that. A couple of people have said that. It does look like the Tetris game. The one little snippet, or even the snippet of 4 together. Oh, it's upside down. Kind of looks like Tetris, but I promise you, it's not going to look nothing like Tetris. I really like that. Don't you like that? This is so much fun because you just set up the hoop and it does its own thing and it's perfect. And you can kind of do something else while it's doing it. Perfect for multitaskers like me. Lisa, your favorite color is purple too. I find that very common in other Lisas. Isn't that interesting? Would it look okay with grunge fabric? I would say if you did grunge as your feature, like in this instance, the black is the feature, pick a background and think, okay, so I did a light background and a more bold accent. You could totally reverse it. You could do a dark background and a light feature. But I would carry the same throughout. So whatever you start with, use it throughout the whole thing. I think if this was a grunge, yes. I would say this needs to be a solid. And that's just me thinking for this design to show up boldly and be the feature design, this needs to be a solid. And that's my own personal opinion. Okay. But I would choose this as a solid. And if you go light, I would go dark. And if you go dark in the background, I would go light here. It would work either way. Matter of fact, it would look stunning if you did red backgrounds and white accent. Or solid blue. Sort of darker blue though. And white. Stunning. Or black solid fabric background, white thread, or white fabric, either one. But anyway, September the 5th, that's when we're starting that. If you're somewhat interested in doing this quilt project with me, and you want to start sourcing stuff, it's not a lot of stuff to source. It really isn't. Grab the downloads in the description box below. Next week, this is all we're talking about. And so if you have questions, feel free to join me then. I'm not going to show any more of it next week than I did today. But I will have the instructions included. So you can download the instructions. But I'm not showing you in person how to make it yet. And I'm not showing you any more of the design. And, yeah. Do you use black bobbin thread in your machine as well? So what I did, Karina, is I matched, it's hard to see. If I back up, you can kind of see it, but that light is really washing it out. See the quilting? I tell you what, hold on a second. I feel like you can see it much better this way. I matched my top thread for the quilting part to my background fabric, and I used a white bobbin thread. And then when it stopped the quilting part and it went to start stitching the pixels, I switched the top thread to a black, and I did a black bobbin thread. Now let me just say this. Let's have a little discussion about it. And it's good that you asked now because you have time to source it, right? I really feel like the way I'm doing it, all of this is going to be hidden on the back with a backing fabric. So you're not going to see this. The only reason I matched my bobbin thread to my top thread is if my tension was off ever so slightly, I didn't want it to show with my black thread because it's so contrasting to my background, right? So I went ahead and I'm changing out my bobbin to match my top thread. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's really the only reason I'm doing that. Because on the back of you're not going to see any of this. Now, if you are going to do this as a quilt as you go and you're going to float your back fabric on the underside of your hoop, then this will show, and I definitely suggest matching your top threads so that this shows up the way nicely on the back of your quilt. Stevie said, like a sweater. I know one thing. My group, y'all, are so smart. That's all I'm going to say. Will you put the SVG file out soon? It's all ready to go. I just need to make a little thumbnail and a listing for it. But I have the Cricut version and the scan and cut version because you know the resolutions are different. But yeah, I have them all ready to go. I just haven't posted them yet. I'll probably do that early next week. Should be lots of fun. And the cool thing is, if you're doing the fabric version, if you meet me every week, even if you're not planning on starting this quilt anytime soon, come meet me every weekend to get your downloads, right? I think they're going to be like $2 after the weekend is over, but 2 times 16, oh no, I'm sorry. $30. I gotta do the math, but in the end, the PDF pattern, if you want to buy it all together, would be $30. But you can get it free if you come see me every weekend, right? The embroidery version is going to be $30, y'all, because I'm digitizing all this stuff. And it does all the stitching for you. But yeah, come hang out with me every week and grab your downloads. Even if you're not going to make this quilt yet, or if you're in the group who says, I can't stand a mystery quilt. I'm not starting it because what if I don't like it? And I've wasted fabric and thread and my time and my supplies, and I don't like the design. I totally get it. Come get your downloads anyway. I'm almost willing to bet you're going to like it. Linda said, how long will it take AccuQuilt to cut out 2,118 squares? I don't know. If I rented an AccuQuilt, what is the going charge an hour? Linda, you have good questions. Does anybody know? Has anybody rented one of those before? I imagine if you have your fabric prepped and ready to go, like your fusible fused on the back side of your fabric, and you have it prepped and ready to go, you can just crank through it. How hard is it to crank those things? I don't know. Have some help. So when your arm gets tired, someone else can take over. Y'all can take turns. I bet you could work through it pretty quickly. If you have an electric one, then you don't have to use your arm strength, right? But it's probably one speed, so that's going to slow you down or speed you up. I don't know. Lisa said, I didn't know you could rent them. Me neither. I mean, that's the first time I've heard that, and I actually think if you could rent those out, that would be really cool. It'd be a good way to have access to tools that are useful, but that you don't use all the time enough to justify the cost of buying it, right? What size is the AccuQuilt die? Evidently they have one that includes a 1/2 inch square. Tink tink, that little guy right there. I bet you it's a whole bunch of them. And you cut a whole bunch out at one time. You can probably even layer your fabrics. I don't know how that would work with heat and bond light on the back side. Maybe you can. I don't know. But if you have access to a friend who has a cutting machine, the little SVG that I made is going to cut 400 out. And it took my machine 2 minutes to do it. Which was lovely. And so to get 2018, hold on a sec, I'm going to do some math. How many times would I have to do that? 2,118 divided by 400. About 5.5 times using that SVG to cut out 400 at a time. And I would probably use up the first 400 and then cut the next 400. Do you know what I mean? That's what I would do. Now, do I think you could convert this pattern into bigger squares? Like Wanda says, her smallest square for her AccuQuilt is 3.5. This quilt would be humongous. Even if you were to translate this pattern, each one of these squares, it finishes at 1 inch. This pattern would be humongous because the math is not the same as the butterfly pixel quilt. Even though the quilts are going to be the same size, There's a lot more squares because they're smaller in this quilt than there are in the Butterfly Pixel Quilt. Right? And I'll tell you how many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. That's 100. 100 times 16. Maybe. I'm not good at math, y'all. I think this quilt would be like 80 by 80 if you translated these squares into 1-inch squares. I think it would be. But I'm not good at math, y'all. All right, so I hope you have a fantastic weekend. I hope that this has sparked your interest. And when I say trust me and follow along with this quilt, it's because I have full confidence that I think you're going to really like it. It's a pretty dang cool looking quilt. Again, it's put together as a pixel quilt, but totally different than what we did last time. There's no bulky seam allowances. I could even press these seams open and be okay with that. Yeah, and it's a lot of fun. So next week, we're just hanging out. I will have instructions to go along with this. And it's just a chit chat. We're just chit chatting until September the 5th. All right. I hope y'all have a fantastic week. I will see y'all next Friday. Oh, I wanted to say, I don't know what that hurricane storm is doing out there. Y'all keep your eyes on it. We're here in Virginia. It kind of looks like it's going to stay or turn out to sea, you know. But keep your eyes on it if you're on the East Coast. Everybody, actually, the weather's so nutsos everywhere, isn't it? Y'all be careful out there. I love you so much. I'll see you next Friday. Bye.
In the quiet of the evening light, with needles dancing, stitching inside each patch of story, every thread a song binding love and fabric where we belong. Every stitch a whispered prayer, in every corner I find you there. Oh, sweet patchwork of our days, stitched together in so many ways. With every thread our lives entwined, in this quilted love our hearts align.